Tom Aspinall is stuck, and time is running out. Hit subscribe to MMA Thread for all the latest on this heavyweight mess. Tom Aspinall and his father Andy have grown increasingly frustrated with the UFC and Jon Jones over the constant delays in arranging the heavyweight title unification fight. Despite Aspinall doing everything the promotion asked, including winning the interim title against Sergey Pavlovich and defending it in a late-night fight against Curtis Blades, he still hasn't been given a clear path to a full championship bout. The Aspinall team's irritation has started to spill over publicly. In a recent Week in the Life video posted online, Andy Aspinall called the situation stupid, questioning why the UFC seems reluctant to match Tom against anyone but Jones, and yet still hasn't finalized the fight. According to Andy, after meetings with top UFC executives like Hunter Campbell, they were simply told to stay tuned, with no firm commitments, dates, or contracts. This growing impatience isn't just because of the wait itself, it's also due to the sense that Tom is losing valuable time during the peak years of his career. He remains in full training camp mode, working twice a day and doing everything an elite athlete should, but without the reward or momentum that comes from active competition. The longer the delay goes on, the more it feels to Aspinall's team like the UFC is mishandling an opportunity to properly build their interim champion into a unified, legitimate star. The ongoing delay is not only frustrating for Tom Aspinall on a competitive level, it's also beginning to create real financial stress for him and his team, especially for his father and head coach, Andy Aspinall. Because Tom hasn't fought since defending his interim title against Curtis Blades in July 2024, he hasn't earned a fight purse for almost a year. In MMA, especially at the highest level, fighters and coaches often operate on a pay-per-fight basis. Andy openly discussed that he, as Tom's coach, is paid based on Tom's fight earnings. Without fights, there's no income coming in for either of them. Andy expressed that it's not just about the money, although that's important, but about keeping Tom active while he's in peak physical condition. It's nice to train, but you want to train for a purpose, Andy said. Without an opponent, the motivation and the reward that comes from preparing for a real contest are missing. Tom has continued to live like a professional, training 2 times a day, sticking to strict physio, recovery, and nutrition programs, but without the vital payoff of competing and growing his career. Every month that goes by without a fight not only costs him financially but potentially robs him of crucial years at the top of his physical prime. This situation has created a cycle of frustration, where the fighter and coach are stuck in an elite-level training environment without the professional validation of being able to show it in the cage and earn from it. A major source of frustration for Tom Aspinall's camp, and for fans, has been the inconsistent and vague messaging coming from the UFC regarding the Jon Jones fight. UFC CEO Dana White has repeatedly told the media that everything you hear is bulls **** until we say it, and insists that Jones vs. Aspinall is the fight we want to make this year. However, despite these public reassurances, no date, venue, or official contract has been announced. Meanwhile, White has been busy announcing other major fights, like Dricus du Plessis vs. Khamzat Chimaev, making the lack of news about Aspinall even more glaring. Behind the scenes, according to Aspinall's father Andy, the UFC instructed Tom to tell fans to stay tuned, but gave no further real updates. This approach has only fueled rumors and speculation that the fight might not happen at all, or that Jon Jones might retire before ever facing Tom, something that British MMA legend Michael Bisping even warned about publicly. The UFC's reluctance to fully commit to a clear plan, despite calling Tom the obvious #1 contender, is hurting their own credibility in the eyes of fighters and fans alike. MMA fans are increasingly viewing this situation as a potential failure by the UFC if they don't capitalize on Aspinall's rise and give him the fight he has earned. Instead of building real hype around a unified heavyweight title fight, the UFC's mixed signals are creating anxiety, distrust, and missed opportunities for both the fighter and the organization. Tom Aspinall now faces a critical career dilemma: wait indefinitely for Jon Jones and risk losing precious prime years of his fighting career, or accept a lower-ranked fight and potentially jeopardize his chance at the biggest bout of his life. Andy Aspinall made it very clear: Tom's goal is to fight Jon Jones, unify the heavyweight titles, and cement his legacy by defeating arguably the greatest MMA fighter ever. Taking a fight against a lesser opponent carries major risks. Number 1, a loss against a lower-ranked fighter could derail his shot at Jones completely. Second, even a close, boring win could lower his momentum and marketability. Last but not least, injuries in a non-title fight could sideline him even longer. Tom has already done everything right, winning the interim title in dominant fashion, defending it, and staying active while Jones has been out. But the longer he sits and waits without a fight booked, the more his situation starts to resemble that of Michael Chandler, who waited for years to fight Conor McGregor, only to see that matchup repeatedly delayed and eventually fall apart. There's a growing concern among fans, analysts, and even within Aspinall's team that if Jon Jones chooses to retire, which is still possible given his age and injury history, Tom could miss out on the marquee fight he deserves. In that case, the UFC would likely pair Aspinall with someone like Cyril Gane to unify the division. A good fight, but nowhere near the career-defining opportunity that beating Jon Jones would offer. Ultimately, Aspinall is trapped. Waiting makes sense if the Jones fight is guaranteed soon. But if it isn't, every day that passes feels like wasted time in the short window of a fighter's prime years. Drop a comment with your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe to MMA Thread for more fight updates.